I mean, I
That's true.
didn't. Oh,
I think we are live.
we're live. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Movie Mood. I'm your host, Alex Van Horn.
I'm John Alberto.
And we are talking today the Oscars. I don't know if we talked Oscars before
Not
already.
really. Not really. So I think what we're going to do today is really more focus on Best Picture. We're going to look back on a lot of movies from this millennium, a lot of the award ceremonies from this millennium, and talk about what won Best Picture that year. Was it a deserving winner? And if we were Academy voters, what would we have voted for?
Definitely, yeah. We're gonna go from the mid 2000s and kind of go up to here, and this has definitely been an interesting awards season with all the drama and all the theaters kind of being shuttered in the past few years.
Right, exactly. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see what won Best Picture back in the 2000s versus today, and see how they're kind of different and how things have changed over time.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna start with 2005 and go from the year Crash won, which is kind of an interesting place to start with the Oscars.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember actually watching that ceremony back in 2005, and Jack Nicholson was presenting the award for Best Picture, and
Oh,
it was
nice.
like, it was like the award for Best Picture goes to Crash. Like,
That's
I,
cool.
yeah,
Crash.
Crash. um,
What was up that year? Do you remember?
so,
I feel like it's Brokeback Mountain, right?
so yeah, throughout the entire conversation, Brokeback Mountain was the front runner. And I think Brokeback Mountain was probably the deserving winner.
Yeah,
Um, it it may have been a little bit ahead of its time. I don't know.
definitely.
Um, but but um, I don't know. For me, Crash is a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, I think Crash is kind of like, and there are a few of them on the list. They're like movies like nobody like really watches that much anymore, and they're definitely movies that are made to be Oscar bait. Like
Mhm.
they're like the talking about big issues and have like a big cast and are generally just made to be Oscar bait.
Yes, absolutely. And it's and a lot of those times, those movies are very successful. One kind of Oscar baity thing is to make a movie about the movie industry.
Yeah.
Academy voters love watching movies about the movie industry, or about an issue that's topical in the moment.
Hmm.
And
For
those
sure.
are and those are usually pretty widely considered front runners for the big awards of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I think we both can agree that Crash is the is not, the most unforgettable movie from 2005.
Yeah, and I think as we go down this list, we might have a little bit more disagreement in regards to what we think should have been the deserving winner that year.
For
And
sure.
that's the great thing about film. It's completely subjective.
So
Um,
true.
yeah, yeah. So I think this is just going to kind of be a fun conversation about some of the best movies that come out this year and what we thought was really the cream of the crop that year.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The next one is one of my favorites and definitely a movie that impacted me when I was younger. And actually, the next few are big ones. Were big ones for me growing up. But in 2006, it was The Departed.
Yes. And I look at the other nominees that year: Babel, Letters from Iwo Jima, Little Miss Sunshine, and The
Oh
Queen.
yeah,
Um, a few solid movies in there for sure. I think I think Little Miss Sunshine introduced me to Paul Dano. Letters from Iwo Jima was my preferred Clint Eastwood World War II film, but
definitely. Kind of a
but
forgotten Clint Eastwood one, but really, really good.
yeah, but I think in '06, Martin Scorsese had not won an Oscar yet,
Yeah.
which is shocking.
Mhm.
The Departed, I know it played a whole huge role in your life and interest in filmmaking, but
Definitely.
The Departed's a masterpiece. The Departed absolutely deserved Best Picture that year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of like finally Scorsese won, and it's kind of, I mean, out of his movies, I feel like it's his most like plot driven movie. Like it has a lot of suspense, and like there's certainly suspense in his movies, but in a lot of his films they're more character driven. I feel like it's more about like following a character through the years, or seeing like, kind of these raw characters and their emotions. And there's certainly that in The Departed, but it's more like plot driven, and um yeah, more, I guess, constructed almost in a thriller kind of way.
Yeah, yeah. Like when I compare The Departed to like Goodfellas, for example, I definitely think of The Departed as more of a structured,
Yeah.
plot-driven movie. While to me, looking back at Goodfellas, which is another masterpiece, just in another way, is just kind of about life in the mob.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And also it kind of starts this trend. Another trend that is common in the Oscar winners is working class Boston movies.
and that is one of my favorite
Yeah,
trends. I
for
am
sure.
a sucker for that. I've never even been to Boston,
Me neither. I
but
got that.
and I would love to go to Boston. Um, I don't like the Red Sox. I'm a huge Orioles fan, but I love working class Boston movies, and they
Yeah.
will probably be my front runner every year.
I think yeah, probably as far as as the trend of best picture winners, you've got like movies about like racial issues, you've got movies about Hollywood, and then you've got working class Boston movies. And
Yeah,
it's like it kind of stands out a little bit. It's like, okay, all right. I mean, there's
yeah.
not, it's very specific.
Where did this come from?
I think people like the accents also. I mean, like people who are outside of Boston, like it's one of the better American accents for sure.
It's a great American accent, and I don't know if it was like prior to Good Will Hunting, maybe was it really something that was? I'm not much of a film history guy as you are, but was
I mean,
it
I don't think so.
okay?
No, I don't think
So
so.
so we have Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to thank for
Yeah,
one of my favorite trends. Awesome.
yeah, and they keep that up. I mean, they're still with Manchester by the Sea and all the other ones.
Oh yeah,
It's yeah, it's a great trend.
yeah,
And then and Coda.
yeah, and Coda,
Hmm.
Coda, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, and the next one is one of our favorite years, is No Country for Old Men from 2007.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the list of nominees this year, and it gets it's a little bit easier in the 2000s when there was only five nominees, but you had Atonement, you had Juno, No Country for Old Men, Michael Clayton,
Oh yeah.
and There Will Be Blood. What
Mhm.
a and then some movies that weren't even nominated, which I won't get into, but
Yeah.
what a year for movies.
Such a great year. Yeah.
What yeah, absolutely.
For us, I feel like that was our kind of like our 1999. Like those were that was a year where like a lot of really good movies were coming out. And I feel like one of the last years where they had film projectors also that were pretty more common.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
mostly digital after that, wasn't it?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's a great year. It's hard to say like which, I couldn't tell you how many times, if I've seen There Will Be Blood more, or if I've seen No Country for Old Men or Michael Clayton. Like those are kind of like, those are three very strong movies for like, that I would want to win like a Academy Award or something. Those are like big, you know
Yeah.
big
and,
movies.
and even Juno too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very ahead of its time movie.
Yeah.
And it was a great comedy. But so this is a tough year.
Super
Do you
bad.
think?
Not nominated, but
I'm sorry.
And Superbad not nominated, but
Superbad was not nominated. One of my personal favorites, Into the Wild, a Sean Penn movie from that year, was not nominated.
Mhm.
But out of these five nominees, which do you think No Country for Old Men is the one that was most deserving that year?
um I think out of hmm, I think I go between personally No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood. And they're so similar. I mean, they were shot in like the same area of Texas at the same time. Um, Both are very similar, but also very different. Both are like very dark, but also very funny. I think that was probably for me. That's the contender. And then Michael Clayton is almost like it could have been a winner, but it's also it kind of like is odd. It kind of stands out a little bit. It's a unique movie, but I mean, so is There Will Be Blood. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's really hard to say because those are three very strong movies. But I think No Country for Old Men is for sure in like the top five Coen Brothers movies.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, again, 2007, great year. If I were a voter, if I had to cast my vote for one of these movies, I think I would cast mine for There Will Be Blood though.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Yeah. And it's it's very unique and it's got one of the best performances in movies ever. So yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah. Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis was masterful in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I just think about like they're almost like very funny scenes also. The the abandon my child scene or the ending scene with the drink your milkshake. I mean, those are like very um intense scenes, but also like actually funny. Like really,
Yeah. And
really.
they are funny. They're
Yeah.
very funny. And Paul Dano was having a moment in '07 into '08 too.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
Yeah, with Little Miss Sunshine and There Will Be Blood.
Yep.
Also,
Yep.
yeah, that's a wild one. Yeah, what a great year.
Yeah. Terrific
Uh,
year. Yeah, if only they had spread it out to 10 nominees a few years earlier, we probably could have seen a lot more on that list too, because '07 was a special year.
Definitely, for
Yeah.
sure. They missed it too late.
Yep.
Which brings us to 2008 with Slumdog Millionaire.
Yep. Some of the other nominees that year were The Curious Case of Benjamin Button,
Mm.
Frost Nixon, Milk, and The Reader. Um, I remember back in 2008. I don't know what it was about 2008, but I was really, really into Frost Nixon in
I
2008.
remember that.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I don't think I've watched it since 2008.
No, me neither.
No. um, but Slumdog
I
Millionaire
forget
was,
about it.
yeah, exactly. I was like set on it in 2008, which maybe is a reason why movie going is subjective. Things change over time.
True.
Um, I think out of these five movies, Slumdog Millionaire is absolutely the deserving winner.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so too. And I remember specifically watching those awards, and I was really into Danny Boyle back in the day, and had seen Trainspotting kind of young for my age. I watched Trainspotting, but that's such a good movie, and his movies are so like just like so fast and vibrant,
Yeah,
and
so much energy.
yeah, and full of music, and just very contagious. And sometimes Millionaire, there's parts of it I guess when I think about it now they're kind of problematic, but it's still, I mean, it's a great movie. It's kind of like almost and it's like the problem ways is kind of like somebody taking like City of God and making it into this more Hollywoodized thing a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
a little bit exploitive. But at the same time, like it's like a really good story and it has a very, propulsive, powerful, cinematography and music and Um, yeah, I really liked it when I watched it, and I should probably rewatch it at this point. Um,
Yeah, I actually find myself revisiting it fairly often in the big scheme of things, like once every 2 years or so.
oh, nice.
Um, yeah, yeah, and I think you know it kind of is the just energy and pacing of that movie and the vibrance of it that brings me back to it.
Yeah, Danny Boyle is he hasn't really made anything I feel like up, in his like uh he hasn't made like a great movie in a while, but I feel like 127 Hours, Slumdog Millionaire, um, are two of his best for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
I remember watching that and like wanting Slumdog to win because I really liked it. And it kept cutting to like Danny Boyle like sitting and like waiting. And he just was like smiling and he was like I don't know if somebody told him he was gonna win, but he just kind of just like "Ee," and it was like yeah, it was cool
Yeah,
when they
nice.
yeah. Do
All
you think
right, so
the
oh, go ahead.
deserved
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
you think that's a deserved one of 2008, right?
I do think that is the deserving winner of '08. Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah, Milk is really good too, but not the best Gus Van Sant.
So yeah, I think Milk is I think Sean Penn's performance in Milk
Yeah,
is amazing. It's one of the best performances, and I think best actor that year. Looking at Sean Penn in Milk and Frank Langella and Frost Nixon and Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler. That was a tough race that year for sure. But
yeah, I forgot
Sean
about
Penn
yeah,
was terrific in Milk.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's true.
yeah, yeah,
Brings us to oh man, 2008 with the Hurt or 2009 with the Hurt Locker.
yeah, and the longer list of nominees moving forward.
Yeah, what was on that list?
Okay, so a lot of good things actually. So the Hurt Locker was the winner. Other movies that year:
Oh,
Avatar,
yeah,
The Blind Side, District 9, An Education, Inglorious Bastards,
yeah.
Precious,
Mm-hmm.
A Serious Man, Up, and
So,
Up in the Air.
oh man.
Yeah.
So I, hmm. So I actually, I know a lot of people who like, and I don't know how you feel about the Hurt Locker, but I actually do like the Hurt Locker for what it is. It's like kind of it's a war movie, but it's more like a suspense movie told in like a war um scenario. So it's not like people were saying like it's the platoon of the Iraq war, and it's like not really, because like Platoon is like a, a war movie, and I feel like the Hurt Locker is more in line with like Catherine Bigelow's output, like action suspense, these like toxic males who are really into crazy stuff. And yeah, so I really liked it for that aspect, but I don't think it was the best.
Yeah, yeah, and for me, I've watched The Hurt Locker many times trying to get into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and we'll get to this later on in the list, I'm sure as well. Sometimes a movie you can recognize the artistic quality, but it just doesn't do it for you.
Yeah.
And and that was the case with The Hurt Locker for me. It's not my style of movie. I recognize the craft that went into it. I
Yeah.
recognize the themes that went into it, but it just was not for me.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not a movie you'd pop in and watch like, you know,
yeah,
every, every year or whatever. It's not like a something you return to like No Country for Old Men or There Will Be Blood. But it is like a well crafted movie for sure. But I think there's maybe two or three movies on that list that I've watched more times and are better. I would probably say between and we could debate this a little bit, but I mean Glorious Bastards number one.
In-
number
Yeah,
one.
Inglourious Bastards is
Yeah,
Quentin Tarantino's best movie.
for sure.
It was one of the best movie going experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible screenplay, incredible performances. I think we can both agree that if we had been the voters that year, we would have voted number one for Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I think somehow like it does all of Tarantino's themes and does everything that he does well. But it's different, it's like for some reason it stands out, and I think part of that is Christoph Waltz, and the other part is just like it's I don't know, it's just so good. And Django and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Jackie Brown are like some of his best movies, but for some reason, like Inglourious Bastards is really, really watchable. Like, yeah, I could sit down and watch it so many times.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But what were the other two movies
So,
that? What were? Yeah, I mean, everybody knows it's great. Everybody agrees
yeah.
it's great. What were the other two movies that kind of stood out to you that year?
I'd have to look at that list again, but actually, I think Avatar is like, for better or worse, is the other great movie of that year,
Mm.
and it's a mixed bag. It's a real mixed bag.
It is a mixed bag, isn't it?
Because it's like it's a little douchey. The movie's a little bit douchey.
It's grown on me over time.
It's
It
like
has
so full of crap. Like, it's just like
it's it's stupid. It's bombastic. It's but
so stupid.
it's likable. Like
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I think when I first watched it, I hated it. Like, I went to go see it in theaters with 3D, and I was just like, ugh. And I went to go see it with Jonas, and he was like, that was fun. And I was like, I just didn't get into it. I was like, that was too much. And then like I watched it later on a flight to Japan, and I was like, oh, this movie rules. Like, I don't know what it was about watching it on a plane, but you just felt like you were transforming with the
See, that's really interesting because to me, and I also enjoyed it much more later in life as well, but Avatar should be the movie that would be considerably better on the big screen.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
And
that is
if I
interesting.
had gone to see it a second time, I would have been super into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. I think the 3D was the thing that threw me off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
I was like too close to the screen, and it was just kind of like it was also a new kind of 3D where it's very like sharp, and yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was kind of the start of like the 3D push that like
Mhm.
went from like then to maybe like I don't know, maybe like the mid 2010s. I don't think movies
I
really are released in 3D anymore. But
yeah. There's so many like in film history. There's these like times where 3D pops up, and they're like 3D is gonna that's it, and it like disappears in like 4 years.
yeah, like those horror movies in the 50s and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the other one from 2009 that really stood out to me that I would have I think the actual voting system is like a ranked voting system where you like rank them from your favorite to least favorite and then they average it out, which is but the other one that would have been a front runner for me for sure is Up in the Air.
Oh yeah,
Yep,
definitely.
Jason Reitman movie from 2010. Definitely topical at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were kind of in the midst of the Great Recession at the time.
Right.
People.
Yeah, yeah.
George Clooney plays a consultant that's hired by companies to terminate their employees,
Mm.
and it is a very solid comedy drama that I would like to revisit.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since then, and I was trying to remember what it was because I remember him working, and Danny McBride was in it, and it was kind of like a dark comedy, but I forgot that he was firing people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
wild.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, but I remember really liking it though, and I think I watched it several times in 2009. But yeah, that was a great movie. Jason Reitman hasn't really like he had like a few like Thank You for Smoking and Juno and Up in the Air, and he hasn't really like connected. He's in
I think he and I want to say his sister are working on TV shows right now, but I could be off base on that. I could just be talking.
I think he made the new Ghostbusters, but
oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you the 2016 Ghostbusters or like the brand new Ghostbusters?
Brand new one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Haven't seen that one.
No, I haven't seen it either.
There was something I read and I didn't even think about it. But Ghostbusters is a metaphor for deregulation. Didn't think about it.
It's a pretty deep message for.
I know, right? I didn't even like.
Yeah, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind.
Because they like start their own business, and there's that like dude everybody hates who's like,
yeah, there's the dude who's like from the like Better Business Bureau or something.
Yeah. He's like, this is bad. Like this is all like radiation, and they're like, oh, this guy has no dick. Like.
It's a really funny movie.
Yeah. The first Ghostbusters is fun. It's good time.
Very funny.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving into 2010. This and now that we have 10 nominees, I don't think I'm going to read all 10 of them off the list, but I'll talk about all the ones that stood out to me. 2010 was kind of a controversial year.
Yeah, what was that? I can't remember.
So the movie that won Best Picture that year was The King's Speech.
Yeah.
Solid movie, good performances, Colin Firth, Jeffrey Rush, Helena Bonham Carter, all that stuff. The Social Network also came out that year, man.
Right. Yeah. What? Read off the list for me, because I'm blanking on that year.
Yeah, I'll just read off the list. Why not?
Yeah.
127 Hours, Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are All Right, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone.
Oh yeah, I love Winter's Bone is one. I didn't see it when it came out, but that's one that I watched later that I really love. But not sure.
That was Jennifer Lawrence's kind of first big movie, right?
Yeah, and it's very like Southern Gothic, like takes place in the Ozarks. Very gritty. Yeah. And I watched it in college and was just kind of blown away by it. But didn't watch it then. But yeah, I would probably say, thinking back, probably The Social Network is the best movie of all those. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I agree.
Yeah. And it's kind of mind-boggling that David Fincher hasn't won the big award yet. I mean, I know for him it's directing, but
I think he's really shooting for that with Mank, because there's a movie about the movie industry. But
yeah,
it's a bit mind-boggling. Yeah, it's a little bit like Scorsese not having won something for several years.
Yeah, exactly. And that year, Tom Hooper and The King's Speech got all the big awards. It also won Best Director.
You know why? I know why. It's produced by the Weinsteins.
Oh yeah, so a big campaign.
Yep.
They had a
the
big
Weinstein
campaign.
company thing, and there was like something where Colin Firth won Best Actor, and he was like, "Thank you, Harvey." And it's because of the Weinsteins. I mean, the Weinsteins for probably since the '90s, mid '90s, really had like a chokehold on the Oscars.
Yeah. I think Shakespeare in Love kind of started that. But like, I mean, I think Colin Firth probably deserved the Oscar for Best Actor that year. Great performance. I love Colin Firth. I always have.
Yeah, he's great.
Love him in Bridget Jones.
Yeah. He's such a douche in Bridget Jones.
No, the other guy, Hugh Grant's the douche in Bridget Jones.
You're right.
Oh, no, but he's kind of cold. He's
cold, so you think he's a douche, but he actually he's a nice guy. And
he's hurt.
Yeah.
I love Bridget Jones.
Yeah, I watched like all three of those during the pandemic.
Yeah, me too. They're terrific movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, let's move into 2011, and 2011 doesn't look like it was that good of a year for movies based on the nominations.
What are the nominations? I see
All
the
right,
winner.
The Artist was the winner.
Yeah.
The Descendants, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, The Help, Hugo, Midnight in Paris, Moneyball, The Tree of Life, and War Horse.
Wow. Actually, that was kind of a good year, but The Artist was definitely not the one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would not have picked The Artist. I mean, I think I really liked The Artist when I saw it, but it was not the movie that I was watching all the time in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the year Drive came out?
Yeah, Drive came out in 2011.
I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was my favorite movie of 2011 for sure. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and I mean, like, some of these movies are good. The Help's a great movie.
Yeah.
Hugo's a great movie. I think if I were a voter, I would vote Moneyball. That's just a personal preference. Although I think for me, Moneyball was the movie that showed me that Jonah Hill is a great actor, and Jonah Hill is a very underrated actor.
You know what? I'm gonna say if I had the choice, I would have said Tree of Life.
Ah, that's a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, just because Terrence Malick is like in the 2000s, he just started becoming really prolific, and not all of his movies that he's pumped out are that good. But the Tree of Life is like, yeah, one of his masterpieces for sure. And it's got dinosaurs and the Big Bang, so it's pretty cool.
Nice.
And also great performance by Brad Pitt as well.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great actor.
But yeah, Midnight in Paris, The Descendants are definitely some ones I really liked, but not other than maybe The Tree of Life or Moneyball, not a lot of great movies.
I didn't realize that Corey Stoll played Hemingway in Midnight in Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stole the show.
Yeah, he really did. I didn't even know that was him. I think the first thing I actively noticed him as an actor in was House of Cards, and I kind of like Corey Stoll. Whenever he shows up and stuff, I get excited.
Isn't he like Officer Krupke or something? Or
yeah, he was in West Side Story. He was in First Man. He played Buzz Aldrin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good in that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's good as Hemingway in that one. I remember one of my English teachers was he was like an expert on Hemingway. He was like we were talking about that movie, and he was like, yeah, but that's not really who Hemingway was. Like that's like he was very irked by the character of Hemingway in the movie, but it's kind of a joke. Like it's
of course
like
it is.
He's being like he is in his books, like yeah. So it was funny. I like Midnight in Paris a lot.
Yeah.
Despite the director.
The problematic nature of the director. All right. And then we get into 2012.
Yeah. So that's actually a pretty good choice, I think. Not a movie I've watched a bunch of times, Argo. But,
yeah.
It is a good movie. It's a great movie, even. Yeah.
Yeah. Argo is a solid choice. And I think if I had been a voter, there's a very real possibility I would have voted for Argo that year.
What are the other nominations?
Amor, Beast of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Which Django, like, I liked Inglourious Bastards right away. Django Unchained grew on me over time. I think if I were voting on but that's the thing. I would be voting on these movies in 2012, not today. So
Yeah,
so I don't know if I would vote for
Django
Django in
Django's
2000.
is a big deal for me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great one. Yeah.
I think if I had been a voter in 2012, I probably would have voted for the next one, which is Life of Pi. Um,
Yeah.
Life of Pi is a gorgeous, gorgeous movie that I don't know if it's really stood the test of time. I don't think people actively really think about Life of Pi that much anymore, but
Yeah.
it is it's gorgeous. Lincoln, Tom Hooper's Les Miserables.
Yeah.
Silver Linings Playbook, another great one.
Yeah.
My closest friends know that I love Bradley Cooper. I really do.
He's pretty great.
I'm a huge Bradley Cooper fan.
Yeah.
Nice Philly guy, and
Is he from Philly? I didn't know that.
yeah, he's from Philly, and Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, interesting year for sure. Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, the movie that has been the one that I've gone back to the most is probably Django, just because it's Tarantino and was a wild movie that kind of opened the door to talk more about slavery and that era in history, and also open up the door to do westerns in a different way, which has been pretty cool. Like I like the movies that have kind of come from that. Yeah, and some of the better performances by Leo, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that so Christoph Waltz is a great actor, and he won Best Supporting Actor for Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained. I think Django Unchained had one of the best supporting casts ever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've got Samuel L. Jackson in there. I don't know if he was nominated, but he should have been nominated. I know Leonardo DiCaprio was not nominated.
Yeah.
But I think he really could have. He might have deserved the Oscar for supporting actor that year.
Yeah.
That was Leo in such a role, and then Christoph Waltz ultimately did win that year for his role.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's not as good as Inglourious Bastards. His role in Inglourious Bastards, like that's seriously that character kind of makes that movie, and probably Jamie Foxx or Leo had more difficult characters and performances in Django than Christoph Waltz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, agreed.
It brings us to 2012 or no 2013.
Yeah, movies from 2012. The ceremony was in 2013, I think.
Yeah. It gets me confused.
Yep, it is confusing. Gets me confused too.
So what were the nominees? I see 12 Years a Slave was the winner.
Yep, 12 Years a Slave won. Then we had American Hustle, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. This ceremony was in 2014. So movies were in 2013.
Yeah.
The ceremony was in 2014. Gravity, Her, Nebraska, Philomena, and The Wolf of Wall Street.
Ooh. Well, I think with 12 Years a Slave certainly is a important movie and a well-made movie. Not a movie that I would readily go back to watch. But I saw it in theaters and it was very very intense experience. But I think the movie that I've gone back to more and is the kind of the movie of that kind of era of Scorsese is Wolf of Wall Street. That's the movie, man. That's it.
Strongly agree.
Llewyn Davis isn't on that list. Is kind
What's
of
up?
Inside Llewyn Davis, the Coen Brothers movie.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorites from that year with Wolf of Wall Street. Because I was working in a theater then, and I would sneak in to go see those movies like over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
between work. But yeah, Wolf of Wall Street is the big one, I think.
Yeah, and Wolf of Wall Street is kind of like, and I know this metaphor has probably been made 100 times, but it's like Goodfellas for Wall Street. And like if you're working in a movie theater or something, you can just like go in and hop in for a few minutes and just get like a kick out of the scene that you're watching.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's yeah. Yeah, and I think I think this was a good year for movies. Your points about 12 Years a Slave are absolutely key. Strongly agree with them. But I think if I were a voter out of those movies, I would vote for The Wolf of Wall Street.
And you know what? I'm thinking about it back when it came out. I remember that there were like a bunch of reviews about it where people were offended by it, and they were saying like it was sexist, and they were saying all this stuff. But I mean, looking back at it now, I don't think it is, and I think it's just like showing that world for what it is, and like all the debauchery, and it's not. I mean, it's like similar to Goodfellas, like because you're showing murder, it doesn't mean that you're condoning murder, right? You're not condoning what the gangsters are doing. You're just kind of showing them for like what their life is and what it's like, and like still entertaining. Like,
yeah, and Martin Scorsese's always been a expert at showing bad people doing bad things in a way that doesn't support that behavior, but makes it a masterclass in film.
Yeah, it's inside their head, like the character's head, but it's not. It's kind of showing you that character for who they are, not condoning it, or like putting a spin on it where the audience can feel good about themselves or whatever. It's all about the character. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Brings us to the next one, which is 2014 Birdman.
Yeah, this is a movie that you really like, don't you?
I really liked it. Yeah. I don't think I've watched it since. Like in 2014, I went to go see it like 3 times, maybe 4 times. But you know what? I haven't watched it since, but I really liked it. I mean, I like Michael Keaton. Mm-hmm. I like the style of it. I like the miserable actor characters, and but haven't really watched it since. And it was kind of like, it's an interesting movie because it's kind of like in that time when superhero movies had taken over and were taking over, and it's a little bit of like a reflection on that a little bit. But it's a pretty good, I think, as far as the movies that are about movie making or
art,
acting.
Yeah,
it's a good one. Yeah, I don't know if it's like accurate because I have no idea, but yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I thought Birdman was the deserving winner that year.
What were the other ones?
American Sniper, Boyhood, Grand Budapest, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, which was the Stephen Hawking movie, and Whiplash.
I think actually, what's the one before Grand Budapest?
Boyhood.
Yeah. Grand Budapest and Boyhood might have been the runners up. Actually, I think I've watched Grand Budapest more than any of those other ones.
Yeah, I think going into that awards ceremony, these are more recent years, so I remember this more. I think Boyhood and Birdman were kind of the front runners. The Grand Budapest actually won the most awards that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Birdman, absolutely a deserving winner. Boyhood was just something incredible in what they did in it. Like, I mean, they filmed these actors' lives for 18 years. So it's really cool, and I don't think you won't get a movie like that very often. So I kind of have a spot in my heart for Boyhood, but Birdman's absolutely deserving. Terrific soundtrack, terrific performances, gorgeous cinematography. Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's kind of a soft spot for me for Grand Budapest Hotel. I think it's out of like the Wes Anderson movies, I feel like he has a very niche crowd. Like he's not like a Tarantino where like everybody can go see it and everyone can like get the art and the entertainment side of it. But Wes Anderson is very niche, and I feel like that movie was one of the first that was like people could be like, oh, this is about World War II and the Holocaust, and they could kind of like buy into it a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think it's one of his masterpieces for sure. Don't know. I mean, don't know if it was the one that should have won, but it's the one probably I one of the Wes Anderson movies I watch a lot.
Oh yeah, out of Wes Anderson's filmography, which I'm surprised we haven't done a deep dive into yet, is
Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
yeah, is something that I would revisit the most out of his movies for sure.
Yeah, that and like Fantastic Mr. Fox or something. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. And then 2015, a very good year for movies. The year Leonardo DiCaprio finally won his Oscar. I think that was the
Revenant. Yeah.
main event of the night.
Sorry, I'm making you like the nomination reader, but what are the nominations?
So the winner was Spotlight.
Right. Yeah.
We also had The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, and Room.
Ooh, that is a good
Yeah.
year. Yeah, man. Well, the one that I mean, what are your thoughts about Spotlight winning Best Picture?
So Spotlight is a solid movie.
Yeah.
I think on every plane trip I have ever been on. What?
Also a Boston movie.
Also a Boston movie. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think on every plane ride I have ever been on, Spotlight has been on my watch list. It's just one of those easy movies to watch on a plane. But I do not think it was the most deserving winner that year. I think out of these nominees, one absolutely stands out to me. And then there are a few other solid choices in there.
Yeah. What's the one for you?
The Big Short. I think it is
Yeah.
I like Adam McKay very much, even though Don't Look Up was a little bit heavy-handed. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I think out of Adam McKay's filmography, I think The Big Short is by miles his best.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And I don't understand how it did not win Best Picture.
Yeah. Just the fact that, it exists and it's, can explain what happened in 2008 is really remarkable. And at the same time, it's a very cleverly made movie for the subject matter that it has. Yeah, I think the big ones that stand out, well, for me, just because I'm reading a book about it now, the big one that stands out for me is Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
But The Big Short also is the other one that's like it's a really big deal. Yeah. But yeah, I'm reading this book about Fury Road. It took them, they started writing that in like 1997. So
they started writing the movie in 1997, you mean?
yeah. And it took them a really long time to make it. And it's really an amazing, that movie blows my mind. But The Big Short, and both of them are like have really strong themes about, lots of important things that are going on in the world, what going around then, and are also like super entertaining, great movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think the acting and the performances in The Big Short are pretty amazing. Has a pretty great cast. Yeah, it's pretty mind-boggling that neither of those won. I think Spotlight is kind of it's not one I watch. I haven't watched it since that year, I think.
Yeah. But I looking at this list, and it's funny that you bring up Mad Max because Fury Road was the movie that took home the most awards that night.
Yeah.
A lot of technical awards, but that's beside the point.
I mean, it's technically a brilliant movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Overall, a solid year for movies. I very much like The Martian. I still do.
Oh yeah.
The Revenant was the movie that got Leonardo DiCaprio his Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that was kind of the mid 2010s were kind of Alejandro G. Inarritu's peak.
Oh yeah, just talk about really baffling, big budget movies. The Revenant. I don't think I've seen it since then, but I just remember being like, whoa, like just very a lot, you know. Leo getting attacked by a bear, and um, Tom Hardy is brilliant in it. Yeah, I mean, both that and Fury Road are both like watching it. You're like exhausted for the people that are in it. You're like, oh my god, this probably took like so much work. Um, but for me, Mad Max is more fun to watch than The Revenant. But The Revenant is like, yeah, a pretty amazing piece of work for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And we go into 2016, which
great year also.
Incredible year.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. So best picture was Moonlight.
Yeah, it had that whole flub.
Yeah, what a debacle. The other nominees this year were Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, and Manchester by the Sea.
Did you say Lion?
Lion, which was the Dev Patel and Nicole Kidman movie. Yeah, do you remember that one?
I don't think I saw it. No.
Oh, it was solid. It was solid. Yeah. I did go see it in theaters. I like looking at the other nominees this year. It doesn't really have the gravitas of the other ones, maybe, but still
yeah. Oh, it did see this. Yeah.
Solid, heartwarming watch.
She adopts him. Yeah. He's adopted. Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah. Yes. But I think for me, I mean, I know what your personal favorite is. I mean, it's between. I think Moonlight was deserved for that year. But it very well could have been Manchester by the Sea.
Dude, if I could do a 3-way tie for first place that year, I absolutely would have.
For La La Land?
Yeah, for the winner, Moonlight. I mean, Moonlight's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
La La Land is, I think La La Land's probably Damien Chazelle's best movie, and then my personal favorite movie of all time, the Boston Oscar bait, tragic,
working class,
Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah,
I love this movie.
Yeah,
so much.
It's a very good movie. Yeah. I rewatched it again maybe about a year ago, and yeah, it still holds up. It's very powerful, and of course, it takes place in Boston, like in that area, Massachusetts, Boston, and it does kind of like fall into that trope of the Boston working class characters. But it's I think it very well could have taken place in like any, like pick a spot in America.
Yeah,
rural America. It's really and one of the best performances by Casey Affleck,
Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
I wake up every day at 5 a.m. and watch Manchester by the Sea, and then I start my day.
You've been doing that for a while. Do you still watch it quite a bit?
I still watch it quite a bit. Not every day.
But you were actually having a period of time.
I had a moment. It was, I was living alone at the time. It was just yeah. It was the winter. It was the dead of winter. I was like,
are you all right, John? Like,
yeah. My mom texted me one day. She was like, I just watched Manchester by the Sea. Are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. No, but in all seriousness, Moonlight is a deserved segue. Moonlight is a deserved winner. Moonlight is a masterpiece. Yeah.
I've told you about how I think there's like a Wong Kar-wai connection between that movie, right?
You have, yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very strongly, and a lot of the guy's movies are very Wong Kar-wai influenced for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. And I haven't seen any of Barry Jenkins' other films. I've only seen Moonlight.
Yeah, they're good. They're good ones. Yeah, the Underground Railroad TV show is real good, but hard watch for sure. But real
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think Manchester by the Sea for sure is a masterpiece. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it absolutely, I think it absolutely deserved the awards that it won. I know it took home screenplay, um, and best actor. All right, but yeah,
This is
we're
2017. That was an
yeah,
interesting year too.
it was an interesting year, and there were a lot of good movies that came out that year, and I think as we go through this list, there are. I don't know if I would have given it to the best picture winner, but I also think the best picture winner was absolutely deserving of it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I really liked The Shape of Water when it came out, and I saw it in Spain, and it was like a
yeah,
whole experience because like I watched it in Spanish first, and I really liked it, and I really like Guillermo del Toro, but I don't think I've watched it since. And what else came out that year? That was
that was okay. A lot. Call Me by
yeah,
Your Name,
Call Me by
Darkest
Your Name,
Hour, which was the Winston Churchill movie,
right?
Dunkirk, Get
Done.
Out, Lady Bird,
Get
Paul
it out.
Thomas Anderson's Phantom Thread,
Ooh.
Steven Spielberg's The Post, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
What are your thoughts on The Post?
Oh, I don't like The Post. Post is boring.
Newspapers.
Hey, I read newspapers. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still subscribe to newspapers, but yeah, the post was boring.
Yeah. There's some big ones that year. Well,
That's
I think the two big ones that stand out for me are Get Out and Dunkirk.
yeah, I think if I had been a voter, I would have voted for Get Out to win Best Picture.
Yeah,
Get
for
Out.
sure.
Dunkirk is very, very good. I like Dunkirk a lot. It's definitely top 5 in Christopher Nolan's filmography for me, maybe top 3.
Oh yeah.
But Get Out, there's not much to say that hasn't already been said about it.
It's
It's
a masterpiece. Yeah.
it absolutely is a masterpiece. Yeah, and
Dunkirk, I watched it in IMAX with my dad, and my dad, he's really into the war stuff. He likes the war movies, and that I think it's a very, very unique movie. And it's kind of like, I feel like if Interstellar is like maximalism and Dunkirk's like minimalism. We probably talked about that in the Nolan podcast, but yeah, Dunkirk is I think definitely is one of his top 3 up there, probably next to The Dark Knight and Interstellar and all that.
yeah,
But Get Out is a perfect movie. So
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Great cast. It was the movie that personally introduced me to Daniel Kaluuya.
yeah.
Who was a terrific actor. I know he did things before that, but it was the movie that introduced me to Daniel Kaluuya. Bradley Whitford, who I love from The West Wing, was a
And Catherine Keener.
Yep.
Stephen Root.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Stephen Root. Yep.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. That's right. It is Stephen Root.
At VCU randomly.
Oh, you met him? Is that what you just said?
No, yeah, I had a friend who that show AMC's Turn, Stephen Root was like in the first season, and my friend Aaron was like in a scene with him. It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And so that takes us into 2018. And I think I know what you would have voted for this year. And I think this year we actually have some differing opinions. So I don't think either of us
Definitely not Green Book.
Yeah, I don't think either of us would have voted for the movie that ultimately won that year, which was Green Book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the nominations for that?
Lots of good ones. Black Panther, Black Klansman, which is one of
Yeah.
my favorite Spike Lee joints.
Definitely.
Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice.
Nice.
The Adam McKay movie about Dick Cheney.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. I think I would. Yeah, I probably would have chosen Black Klansman. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I thought you would have gone with Roma.
No, you know what? I really liked Roma when it came out. I don't think it's as like tight or well made as Black Klansman. I think the hospital scene is a little bit much. I think it kind of like it's like I feel like up to that point, like it just seems like too much, that scene. I thought it was kind of unrealistic a little bit.
Okay.
Um
Yeah.
I really liked Roma, like when I saw it. Um and I love that director, Children of Men, amazing.
Mhm.
Do Mama Tambien, Tambien. And but yeah, Black Klansman is probably the one I've watched the most and gone back to watching. So yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, Roma was one of those movies that I kind of alluded to earlier, where I absolutely recognize the craft and merit of the movie. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think two movies really stood out to me. Black Klansman, which we both agree on, and
Yeah.
then I think the one that we kind of disagree on, which is A Star Is Born.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of A Star Was Born. I I can recognize that Bradley Cooper did a really good job. The performance was amazing. The directing was good. The musicianship was good. I didn't connect with it. I think
Okay.
I
Yeah.
like
See.
Gaga, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
I love Gaga actually, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to rewatch it because
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
yeah,
I absolutely connected with it on every level.
yeah.
Um, I out of these movies, believe it or not, it's the one I've watched the most. I probably watch it quarterly, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, and
He's a talent for sure. I mean,
yeah,
there's no doubt about it. Yeah.
yeah. Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper does it for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think I ever watched Green Book or really want to watch Green Book, but it looks
I
good.
watched it. I watched it in theaters when it came out,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, that was a nice tale." um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not anything like Black Klansman
right, right, exactly.
or even Stars Born. Yeah. And stuff
Yeah.
for unique stuff. Which brings us to 2019, which is
Which I
really,
think a really good year, and I think
really great.
probably the last great year for movies we've had, because it was the last
Yeah.
pre-pandemic year. But
Yeah.
yeah, lots of good movies.
Yeah.
Parasite, Ford versus Ferrari, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Woman, Marriage Story, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. What a great year. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the Academy chose an absolutely deserving winner, but I wish I could have given it to all of them.
Oh,
But if I did have a vote that year, I would have voted for Parasite. I think Parasite is transcendent.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm interested in how it'll like stand the test of time because it's a very parts of it are like very topical. Like they're very like what's going on in the world today with, class disparity and global warming and all that stuff is involved in the movie, but it's also like this great thriller slash gothic thriller.
Mhm.
And yeah, just connecting on it. Yeah. It was I think a lot of people really loved it and were entertained by it. And also like Korea in general in the past few years has had a real renaissance of movies, TV shows, music. And yeah, that was a great year, yeah, and deserving movie. I mean, I think if they had given it to The Irishman or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think those are really, really great movies, but they're kind of a new take on the same stuff that they've built their careers on, And Little Women was definitely great also. But
I
yeah,
love
Parasite
Marriage
was
Story.
yeah, and Marriage Story, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, Marriage Story is great. Yeah, a lot
those
of
those are those movies that speak to me, man.
yeah. Have you seen The Squid and the Whale?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, yeah, Noah Baumbach is cool. He collaborates with Wes Anderson a lot, but yeah, that's a great, really good movie. I haven't watched it since it came out, but I just remember it being like really funny and really sad and good.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great year, man.
Kind of a tangent here, but in regards to minimalist war films, we got two really good ones in the late 2010s. We got Dunkirk and we got 1917.
Yeah,
Um, Out of those two, which one do you think was the would you revisit more?
Dunkirk.
Oh, I would go 1917.
Really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think like the big difference between Dunkirk and 1917 is like with Dunkirk, it's less about character and it's more about the like event. You know what I mean? Like it's about like kind of like a Hitchcock, suspense kind of thing where you're like that one guy. Like we didn't really get his name. He was like Tommy or whatever, but like it doesn't really matter what his name is because he's just trying to survive this big event, and like that's the cool thing that I liked about it, where I thought it was like purely like a cinematic thing. Mad Max is kind of like that too, except it focuses on Furiosa. But I liked 1917. It was
Yeah.
really good, but I felt like it was a movie that the director had watched Dunkirk before making. I felt like
I thought Sam Mendes did a lot of clever things with 1917.
he did.
You
Yeah,
know, obviously the cinematography. Everybody knows about the cinematography of 1917.
yeah.
It's great. Roger Deakins, amazing
Mhm.
cinematographer. But like casting like unknown actors as the soldiers, and then these like A-list British actors, like Benedict Cumberbatch and
Right.
I think Colin Firth and stuff as like the generals.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, it was a
Colin Firth.
maybe. Can't remember. Probably. I remember
Yeah,
the
Colin Firth was there.
yeah, Game of Thrones was at the end.
Yeah, Richard Madden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I liked it. I generally did like it. I think it just didn't like make the impression on me that Dunkirk did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like 1917. It's good.
All right. And now we're getting into the pandemic era
Yeah.
of
Things have gotten weird.
yeah, things have gotten weird. Um
Since
um
and movies included. So have you heard that movie The Bubble? This is a tangent.
I think I have, yeah.
Netflix. I actually really liked it, but it got like terrible reviews, but you should check it out.
Okay.
But I feel like no one has really done like a good pandemic movie, and I thought it was interesting, but maybe it's not good. Maybe my taste is wrong.
Well, hey, your tastes aren't wrong, man. It's
Yeah,
subjective.
subjective,
Um
right?
um
2020. Yeah,
2020. All right. So the best picture winner of the year was
Like
Nomadland.
yeah.
Um,
What were the
some
other
other
nominees?
The other nominees were The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago Seven.
Yeah, a lot of those movies are kind of. I mean, out of this, probably Sound of Metal was my favorite.
Sound of Metal was my favorite too.
Yeah, that was my fave. Actually, it sent
Yeah.
me to the ear doctor. I was like, oh shit, I've got tinnitus too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got bad tinnitus.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, but I have like 98% of my hearing, so I'm fine.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of tinnitus is like stress oriented. So if you drink a lot of coffee and you have tinnitus, it's going to be louder. So
Interesting.
yep, lots of rock
Yeah.
concerts, lots of rock music.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, Sound of Metal. That list is like kind of iffy for me. That was
It's
and I think for 2020, well, I guess those are the movies from 2020 and 2021. I feel like that was a year where a lot of the movies, and especially with this year too, I felt like a lot of my favorite movies weren't nominated or kind of got snubbed a little bit. And it might have just been because of pandemic, like with streaming and those movies not being streamed as much. I think Sound of Metal was a Amazon,
Yeah, Sound of Metal was on Amazon. I
and there
watched Nomadland on Hulu actually.
yeah, I watched Nomadland on Hulu too.
Yeah,
Um,
and for me, again, another movie. I recognize the craft and artistry of it. Not my movie.
I think the more I think about Nomadland, the more I think it's BS. I'm not. I mean,
Okay, you've got stronger opinions
good
than I
strong
do.
opinion. Yeah. I, no, it's good. But I just thought that, yeah, it just wasn't like it didn't knock me out. It
Yeah.
wasn't my fave.
I remember I really liked The Trial of the Chicago 7 when it came out. Now I'm like,
Mhm.
meh.
Yeah, I think so too. Same here. It
Yeah.
was a good movie.
Promising Young Woman was a good movie.
Hey, I watched that recently. It actually that is yeah, I think that's up there with Sound of Metal with that
Yeah.
level. Really good.
The father, Anthony Hopkins, was incredible in it.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one yet.
You got to watch it. I watched it on a plane. Um, yeah.
Now let's talk about this year.
Yeah. Finally, let's move into 2021.
Let's do it.
We made it, and the winner this year was Coda.
Yeah.
Other nominees this year were Belfast, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
What was your favorite this year out of all those?
Okay, so admittedly, out of like looking back on those last years, I've seen all of those movies that have been nominated.
Yeah.
I have not seen all of these movies yet, but I did see Coda.
Yeah.
I loved Coda.
Yeah, it was great.
I thought Coda was exactly what we needed. These past 2 years have been crap.
Yeah.
And I left Coda smiling, feeling good, and all of that, and I am here for it.
No, yeah, it's great. It's very cute. It's very like yeah, like heartwarming story, and also, about, working class family on the docks in Boston.
That's right.
We all love that. Oscars loves that.
I love that.
Yeah, you could have a Boston movie marathon one day.
Yep.
Yeah, not my favorite, but I really did love it. My favorite was Licorice Pizza. That was my go-to.
That's one of the ones I haven't seen yet. I do love Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah. So
great performance by Bradley Cooper.
Bradley. I think looking back on like the last 10 years or so, Bradley Cooper has been in at least one of the movies nominated like every year except for 2020, I think.
Good for him. He's a hardworking dude.
Love him.
Yeah, I thought Licorice Pizza was my fave. I also thought that like Alana Haim, the lead actress in it, I think she totally got snubbed this year.
Oh, really?
I thought at least get nominated. It's her first role, and I was just like, wow, she is that movie. Like, it's just surprising that she didn't get nominated.
Yeah. I watched most of these movies on streaming, including Coda, Nightmare Alley, Don't Look Up. The only two that I saw in theaters were Dune and West Side Story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a different experience, isn't it?
It is a different experience. And I just, I loved the scope of Dune. Dune ended up winning 6 Academy Awards, which is the most the movie's won in years, I think, actually. And it's very deserving. I don't think it was the best picture of the year, but it was a great technical achievement. West Side Story. I know when it was first being released, people were like, "Oh, why are they remaking West Side Story?"
Yeah.
But it worked. West Side Story absolutely worked, and Steven Spielberg did a great job with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I really liked West Side Story a lot. I liked it. I think I really liked Dune when I first watched it. But the more I think about it, I think it's kind of the cool thing about it is the scope and just how like
yeah,
what a big movie it is and what a big production, and it is accurate to the book, which the David Lynch one wasn't as accurate to the book, which is really cool. But it wasn't the one I thought about a lot more after.
mhm.
I think West Side Story was I watched it on my TV and watched it in theaters, but yeah, I think it's kind of underrated this year. Actually, I think it's really good. Yeah,
West Side Story.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
yeah, terrific performances from. I think the standouts for me were Ariana DeBose, who won the Oscar deservedly, and the guy who played Riff, uh,
oh yeah,
Mike Faced. He was really really good. I would love to see him in more stuff. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Um,
Ansel, of course.
see, I usually think he's a good actor. For me, he was kind of dry in it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he was kind of basic. Just your like good guy, I guess.
yeah,
All right. Yeah.
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, what other highlights from the awards this year? Kenneth Branagh finally won an Oscar for
What
Belfast.
for
He won
the
a best screenplay for Belfast.
That's right. Yeah. It was one of his better movies, I think, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, the Will Smith moment.
The Will Smith moment.
I think
Oh,
it's gonna like I mean there might be more people watching the Oscars next year just because of that. Yeah. Talk about something that my students are still talking about it. Like, oh my gosh, like
it's crazy,
yeah, let's
right?
crazy.
Like, I mean,
What's
that doesn't
up?
happen.
Yeah. And there's so many like dumb like thought pieces about it. Like, what does it really mean? Like, what's
Yeah,
this?
there's a lot going on with it.
Who cares?
And there are like polls going around about
Yeah.
it. Like, do you think what he did was wrong?
Yeah.
Um, and like 60% of Americans think that Will Smith should not have slapped Chris Rock. I'm like, okay, I think probably 100% of people think he should not have slapped Chris Rock, but also like, you know, that doesn't like make him a terrible human being either.
Yeah.
Like he's a person, he's flawed,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was also wrong. I
Yeah.
think we need to recognize the spectrum of things.
Yeah, for sure. Like he was probably stressed. Like he definitely wanted to win his Academy Award.
Think
You know?
about the range of emotions that
Yeah.
happened in that like 15-minute stretch of time. Oh my gosh.
He's losing his mind. Like,
I know.
kill you.
Like he's
oh,
laughing at the joke, and then he looks over and sees Jada, and I would like to point out that Jada and Will are from Baltimore and Philly, my two favorite cities.
oh,
Yep. Jada actually went to school with Tupac.
oh no way. Oh, in
Yep.
Baltimore. No
Yep,
way.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh. At the was it the Raven or the Rose High School or something that one you pointed out to me? Can't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember which school it was, but yeah, yeah. So he's laughing at the joke, and then he looks over and sees Jada, and Jada is just not happy. Jada is just not happy with the joke. And then in an then in an instant, like split second, he's up there. Like it was insanity, man.
Did you watch it when it was happening in real time, or did you watch it later?
No, I watched it afterwards because I didn't watch the Oscars this year for the first time in my life.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This dog is going crazy right now.
Yeah. And then his speech was everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the think pieces on how it's on what it means, because I think it's just a weird moment that happened. But yeah.
Definitely.
It's a thing that happened, and it's a part of American culture now.
One of my students was like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. And I was like, yeah,
You would have?
14. Like 50.
He is like 50. And Chris Rock is like 60.
Oh my God.
Yeah. These are old men fighting.
Wild.
Yeah.
Just slap the shit out of me.
Slap the shit out of me. It's the greatest night in the history of television.
Amazing.
I haven't seen King Richard yet. I would like to see King Richard. I was happy for Will that he won an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
He's
it's a long time coming.
Yeah, a long time coming for sure. Yeah, but yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, I mean, when I looking back at the Oscars and just like in general, like I feel like oftentimes like the Oscars are interesting because sometimes they do choose the right movie that's like a good good fit for that time, but like historically Oscars miss the point. Like, they didn't give Best Picture to The Big Short and Mad Max. They didn't give Best Picture to whatever, like Citizen Kane. So, it's an interesting thing to look at what, the Best Picture winners were of that year. But how many people watched like How Green Was My Valley?
Right.
Yeah.
Versus Citizen Kane, of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But a side note before we wrap up, do you remember last year when they did not present Best Picture last, they presented Best Actor last with the expectation that Chadwick Boseman was going to win the Academy Award? And then so they presented Best Picture, and then they presented Best Actress and then Best Actor as the final award of the night, with the expectation that Chadwick Boseman, who had recently passed away, was going to win for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And then Joaquin Phoenix goes out to present the award, and Chadwick Boseman does not win. Anthony Hopkins wins, and Anthony Hopkins is not even there. So someone has to come out on stage and be like, hey, the show is over.
That's wild. I don't remember that. I don't think I watched that Oscars really, except for maybe the beginning. But yeah, it just kind of shows you how weird and like random and sometimes missing the point the Oscars is.
Yeah, I think like in every conversation that we have, movies are subjective, performance are subjective, and I don't think we need an award show to tell us what is the best of the year.
Yeah.
Sometimes we agree with what the Academy says, sometimes we don't, and all the time the award ceremony becomes a hot mess. So
yeah, that's true, but nothing like this past year. Definitely.
Yeah, holy smokes.
Well, cool. I think that wraps up our Oscar night.
Yeah, Oscar night. We'll be back soon with another episode. We'll be talking about something new and exciting. And in the meantime,